Hello, this is Dominic Morris. I'm here with Donte, who's usually behind the camera, but this is our second installment of the Hoopmaps podcast. I don't know if we want to call it that yet, but that's our placeholder. A little bit of background about myself. Long-time baseball league owner and operator. Been running the Morris Baseball League for 10 years, so very enthusiastic in sports along with my brother. It's been a duo group. And for the past couple of years, we started up an app called Hoopmaps. And the basis behind this podcast, audio and visuals, to really tell our story from how we started to where we're at now. We gained a lot of traction, and a lot of people worldwide has downloaded our app. And we thought we wanted to share with y'all the makings of it, because they're still going right now. But we thought that we should share the trials, tribulations, some of the key tips we got along the way. So the basis of these installments of podcasts is going to be pretty much on on lessons, concept, business concepts. So today we'll be talking about MVP, which is minimal viable product. And this is my book right here, Think Big. I write all my ideas and concepts and everything that has to do with building out this app is in here. So I'm gonna go right to it on a MVP. So Donte, I'm gonna break it down a little bit of what you think an MVP is and just a basic definition of it, and then we could apply that to what we've been doing.
Yeah, definitely. So MVP is a minimum viable product, and pretty much is building the very basic version of what you want your product to be. So if it's a website, if it's an app, if it's whatever technology you want to have it, what is the very simple route you want people to do, and how could you build that quick?
Meaning you gotta make a decision, right?
So you gotta make a decision. So with the apps, if you want people to play basketball games and just find games, then focus on that. If it's a food delivery service, and you just want people to find local food areas, focus on that one feature that you want people to use the most. And it's really like a testing ground. You want to have one feature that you think is going to be successful, and then you want to test it out.
Yeah, a little bit of background on what Hoopmaps is. Hoopmaps is a platform where people can play pickup games. So our MVP starting off is, one, the mindset is, how do we build up an app where people, digitally could use it anywhere in the world? And we had to create framework where it's easy for people to share location. Mm-hmm. It's easy for people to add friends. So we had to think in that context of basketball. Of a pickup app.
Yeah.
One, let's focus it on one sport, just to start it off, and two, just technology. Like, is it going to be a scheduler? Is it going to be a time game? So I remember, do you remember the Slack conversations we had of like building out the rules and all we had and what we had to break down to really launch into our MVP model?
Definitely. So when we first started, like, it was just think about the idea first, Start from the idea to the MVP is very important, because we all have ideas, but you have that idea that you think is going to hit big. So once we had that idea, the MVP is building a basketball app where people could find games and communicate with other people. We thought that was big. And then from that point, you do have to make a decision. So when you build out your MVP, it's very minimum things that you have to focus on.
So no news feed, no images, no video.
Yeah.
It's like, in our case, how could somebody go onto our app and find a basketball game as quick as possible?
Like, very simple. Like, we have a lot of ideas coming out the gate. Like, we want people to communicate, we want people to chat, but you got to remember, other apps that started out, like Instagram, didn't start doing DMs till a couple years ago, or they didn't start doing a story ad or adding video or even being on two platforms. So for us, it was like, what could we do to build where our friends could use it to see if it actually worked, and how can we get as much people to give us feedback as possible? So the whole idea about an MVP is trying to build something that's very simple and build it quick to get to market. Because once you get to market, that's when you truly see if it's worth it. Before, if it's even a business, you want to see if it's worthless, if it's worth people actually downloading, spending their time, and try out.
Yeah, it goes into a little bit of like proof of concept, but on MVP, you definitely want to attract a group of users called innovators.
Oh yeah.
And these are the people that they thrive in getting something first. They really thrive in it. So this is like, we had innovators. We had people that just off the concept that, oh, that's tight, I want to download it. So it's really important to have an efficient app where the innovators could go try it out, and then they could tell their friends, which will be the next group. It's called early adopters.
Who was our innovators?
Man, I already know him by name. Yeah, it's a childhood friend of ours in Oakland, played basketball regularly. He saw our app and it clicked with him automatically. He was oh, I get it. He totally got it. Didn't need too much learning or explanation. It was something that he was waiting for. So the group of people that we was looking for specifically was people that play basketball regularly, and they constantly looking for new places and new people to play with. And our app was a solution to that, solution to their problem. It's also a group of people that either new to a city, that don't know the lay of the land, and they would like to play more basketball, but they just don't know how, so they don't bother playing. So by us creating this app, they could see the different courts and discover new places. And that's a compelling story for our user types. But a lot of entrepreneurs, they make the mistake, and I could say we could fall under that too, of really assuming what users want.
Yeah.
And we put a lot of emphasis on things that it probably don't even work out with that user even care for. You want to give a little example of that?
Well, like right now on our app, we have a feature where after you create a game, it's a share button. That share button generate an image, and our idea was that image could be posted on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, send out text messages as a really sharing device that said, hey, me and my friends are playing ball. But what we found out is a lot of people just go on the app and check to see who's already on there playing. So that image is not really needed for reposting. Like, we thought a lot into that feature. We said after people play, this is a natural move that they'll do. They'll want to post something, like posting a run after Nike or letting people know that you're on the court, but they just didn't really adapt to that. And I don't even think people know it's a feature on our app right now.
No, we got a lot of Twitter ads for people posting up the images, but it goes to the point of where the importance is at, and you won't know until you make something bear down that you feel confident about that's going to work, and then taking that user behavior, how the users interact with it, and then really just iterate it and create a little more features to build out the app. So where we're at right now, which is real interesting with Hoopmaps, we still have an MVP, like past proof of concept.
Yeah.
Surpassed a lot of users, which caused up a lot of server space, but a good problem to have. But we're in the process now of getting the feedback from the users, looking at their user behavior, and really building out kind of a whole new app. But just that point from the idea in your head to actually creating it is very crucial. But the next point is testing it out, getting users, people not your friends, people that is your potential customers, and really talking to them as soon as possible. I can't reiterate that enough, like how important that is. And like if we could do it over again, like go straight to the source earlier,
If we do it over again, like where would you go? Like say we got this brand new MVP out, like we got it went to the app store, people could download it. What would be the first spot you go to try to get feedback? Anywhere in the world, where would you go?
So like it was interesting because we thought that we wanted people to connect that didn't know any friends, right? I would do it differently. I'll go to all the spots where there's tons and tons of basketball people and say, hey, this is a spot where you can guarantee you'll play at. You know what I'm saying? It's not for discovery of a new court, but I would talk to these gyms and these community centers and these parks where there's a lot of people at, and then just run it where people could be known on our platform and use it as a spot where you're playing. Now you could track your play, instead of, hey, you could play with this guy that you don't know at a new court that you don't know. No, keep playing here and keep building up at the same spot to make it popular, to really get engaged with the people that's already out there playing. What about you?
Me, I'll just go to a local park, here in Sacramento, in the Bay Area. Just randomly go to a park, say to the people that's, playing ball, would you use it? Is this something that's worth it? Would you go in your pocket before you go out to the court? Because really it was actually about changing behavior. Like our whole goal was to really kind of change the behavior, how people think about pickup sports. Originally you'll text your friends, or you'll look on Facebook, or you will just drive around to see where people are playing ball at. And, you know, people are creatures of habit, so they'll do it, but it's really been inefficient. So we was trying to cut that gap of inefficiency by having everything within your pocket. So before you could go out, before you missed that 2-hour run that your friends just had, you know, that you just got off of work and just found out about, you could look, you could see the status, you could see what's going on, and then you could manage, like, you know what, I want to play basketball, and this is the type of basketball I want to play, and these are my 7 options around me that I could play. Just make it real streamlined and real efficient.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's a heavy task, like, in this industry. Like, if you look at all the other industries, it's been disrupted by technology. You look at transportation, you look at news, look at media, you look at pretty much every big industry. There's a technological advantage to it to make it a lot simpler and easier. And for some reason, in my opinion, sports is like the last of the frontier. You know what I'm saying? It really is, like, to really be disrupted in terms of activity, getting to the activity. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of ticketing apps. There's a lot of scorekeeping apps, but the behavioral change, I think it still hasn't been made yet. And this goal that we're trying to do, it's definitely a long run game. So for people that's in other industries, it's good to start off with an MVP and have a good principle. But I think with us, it's kind of like we're the first to do it, in terms of trying to tackle this problem. So how important you think it is to be the first in this market? So 1, to get the MVP, but 2, to actually learn, change people's behaviors that never done it before. There's no incumbent business that have to really get them on board to say, hey, I want to try this out. And how do you do that in the MVP space? What is your strategy?
It's tough, man. It's really, you got to become the Nike of the sport. You know, it's like becoming first to market. It's not about just becoming
Nike,
first.
I mean, Adidas been there though.
Adidas been there, but Nike is the name that
talking about
everybody
the
know
first
about.
big global.
Yeah, the ones that do things different. It's not about just having somebody that do what you do in the space, but, you know, having everything that comes with it: the name recognition, the cachet, the users, the people, the hype. You know what I'm saying? Just kind of having the vibe around the whole idea. And I'm not necessarily worried about that right now. I'm kind of worried about putting out a good product that people could use, because I think whoever could solve that problem first is really going to win. Whoever could come out with a good product.
Came out first, but then MySpace came in the door and they offered a better service.
Yeah.
And then years later, Facebook came and they surpassed them.
Sometimes being first ain't always good. Sometimes being third or fourth, where you can sit back, watch somebody do some work, and then you come back around, you make it better, and you see exactly what you need to grab, and they got all the advantages because the first person, you know, took all the hits in the head by learning. You know, but being first, you definitely discovery, but second and third is really reap the benefits of doing it better and streamlining. So with us, it's so brand new, and there's so many people did it before us, man. You know, let's admit that a lot of people was out there, they did it, but it's
to admit though, researching this app, researching this concept, that was one of the first things I did though. So I did try out different apps, but I mean their problem relies with all our problems.
Yeah, we all in the same. Go ahead.
It's the whole chicken and egg. It's the whole network effect. It's the whole global, local. Now, how do you create clusters within different markets? We will have a show talking about how to scale that up, because that's a problem that we're still tackling. That's a problem that, you know, whoever solves that problem,
they're gonna win.
The network effect.
Yeah.
I mean, it's over with after that. I mean, it's the race to the network effect. It's the race to, say, in Tempe, Arizona, we're critical. You know, we have 20,000 or whatever number that is going every day. So when people get on there, they see people and they keep playing, and it continues this motion. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a lot of players before we came on, and then there's a ton of players.
It's a lot right now.
But how you feel about that? How you feel about people in the pickup space? Because there are different approaches. So ours right now currently is we're focusing on a basketball vertical, just people playing pickup basketball. But our app, I mean, it's universal. If you play any type of sport, you could meet up and play. But we're focusing and really trying to be the best we could be in this one area. You know, we're trying to do that. But how do you look at other? And I know we're gonna talk about competition now, but how do you think about What do you think about the other apps and like their approaches to it, and then look at their MVPs? And how do you see that align up? Like if we're doing like a differential grid of, of market differentiation, how do you think others compare to us and their approaches?
I like a lot of their approaches. You know, a lot of them, we could tell most of them generate from a idea like we did. You know, we had an idea, come up with an app where people could find pickup games, but how they execute is unique. Like all the apps out there is unique on how they execute. You know, people might think of having a map as a home screen, or somebody might have a message board, or somebody might, have pre-information on the app, like preloaded data in there. So just their approach and execution is different, but I think we all after the same thing. We all had the idea of, man, we want to go outside, we want to find a pickup game, and we just want to be able to look for where the action is at. So I think everybody's on the same page. A lot of people, marketing is different. Some people have multiple apps with multiple sports, gamifying some of the apps. Like, I like everybody out there, their idea, but I still think it's the Wild Wild West. It's up for grabs.
Without a doubt. There's so many, because there's so many discoveries. Like I'll look on YouTube or I'll look on Google.
Oh yeah.
And then even in the App Store, like every time you look under suggested, you see something different.
It's a lot.
But it's some unique take to it. It definitely is. And I think what's going to win after all of it is who's the louder voice. You know what I'm saying? It really is. But it's one, you got to capture the attention of the people you're reaching, right? The mass people, the people that's at the courts playing basketball. But once you do that, to lock them in, you really do have to have some foundation. Yeah. And I think with us, that's what we're discovering now. Like our MVP was made for like me and 5 of our friends. You know what I'm saying? When we built it,
Still is.
Yeah. So like, just like latency issues or crashing, bug reports, like man, we're still dealing with it, but we dealt with that a lot. But I'm very confident on our new version coming out. But I think I think it's all about capturing that audience, and this audience is big. It's 26 million in America. In America, it's over 52.
Oh yeah.
Worldwide. So there is plenty of space just in this basketball vertical. But if you're talking about people that play activities overall, you're looking at over 200 million people in the world.
Oh yeah. It's opportunity. It's definitely opportunity. So yeah, I think our next episode we'll talk about competition.
We could go real deep.
We'll talk about finance. We'll talk about raising capital, because there's a lot of aspects of just running an app. We talk about team members and organizations, but we just want to give you guys a little taste of the MVP, our process of how we built it, and pretty much where we at now today. So we appreciate you guys listening to us, and appreciate you guys tuning in to our podcast. Make sure you go to our website, www.hoopmaps.com, to find out any information.
You put the www on it?
Yeah, I still do that.
Okay. Yeah, hoopmaps.com for all our information. We're going to post this video right here on our website, as well as we got gear. So Hoopmaps t-shirts, you can find them on our website as well.